Okay, let's go over your writing assignment, your first one. This can be found in assignments. And in assignments here, you have the quizzes, exercises. This will be under writing assignments. It's this first one here. Actually, you won't see any of the other ones because they'll be all blocked out, but it's the hard news story. As you can see, it's due June 9th, 11:59 p.m., so just before Monday. It is worth 100 points. So it's it's a big chunk of your grade. It's 10% of your grade. It's a big chunk of your grade. You got 2 weeks to do it. It's very rushed. I mean, 6 weeks to do a course is very rushed as it is. So this is going to take you a lot of time and it's condensed. So I think time management is crucial. And we can talk about that at the end of this video, what I mean by that. You're going to write a hard news story. You've already gone over what a hard news story is. In the context of this class, so a hard news story, you're covering usually a fire, you're covering a police incident, you're covering in sports a game, right, an actual athletics game. You are covering, I'm trying to think of something else, weather-related things, anything that's in the moment that you get one shot to cover it, basically. That's a hard news story. Now, I know you're not going to be able to cover a fire or a police, police engagement, or maybe an athletics event. We'll talk about that. But you're not going to be able to cover some of what we traditionally consider hard news stories. So in the context of this class, what we're going to consider hard news is something that you get one shot to cover it. It's live. You have to show up. You get one, you can't just, it's not going to be happening over and over again. You can't take your time with it. You're going to the event, you're covering it, and then it's done. And I'll give a few examples of this in the video here. So with that being said, you must cover the live event that you attend in person. You actually have to go to this event. And I also say that you have to attend because let's say you're going to cover a sports game, which a lot of people end up wanting to do. Well, you can't cover it watching, a baseball game, watching on TV and considering that you're covering the event. If you actually attend the event, so if you actually go to a Yard Goats game or the Yankees game, or even for this class what we're talking about, if you go to your nephew or niece's baseball game, right? If you go and do that, then I'll let you count that. But you have to be physically going to the location to cover this event. Let's actually, I'm going to jump ahead. So talk about what some other things are. So you have to cover the event. I give you some examples down here. You can cover a sports game. When I say a sports game, a professional game, that's great. If you're going to a professional game, that's sure, cover it because you're going to the actual location, or a minor league game. But like I just mentioned, it could even just be your nephew or your niece's soccer game, right? It could be, a local charity game that's being played over the weekend. And I apologize for my dogs going crazy because they know I'm doing this video, so they decided to start barking. But you could go, you can just go to, it doesn't have to be professional, is what I'm saying. You can go to anything that's just a live sporting event. So that's one option for you. You can go to a town meeting. Towns have these meetings. Yes, oftentimes they're boring. Though I would argue I used to cover them. I don't think they're always as boring as you might think. But check your local town municipality. Do they have a city council meeting? Do they have a zoning meeting? Go to the meeting. They're usually on an evening, usually like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Go and cover that for an hour. What was talked about that meeting? They would probably love that you're cover what they're doing over there. A town event is actually a really good weekend if you're watching this on Monday or even Sunday night maybe. Parades, right? So there's Memorial Day weekend, even though I know if you're watching this Monday, maybe you've missed it Saturday or Sunday, but you could be going to a parade that's in town, or maybe there's a Memorial Day event, some kind of event that's happening during the week. Go to that. A public speech. Take a look at or outside the library here. Take a look at your library. Oftentimes the libraries have somebody coming to talk, give a speech about something in the evening. That could be something you go to. A charity event. We're starting to enter summer, so is there some kind of charity event? I know for Newington, we just had a 5K race. So you go to that actual 5K race that was covered for that day. School board meeting. You get the idea here. Something that you get one shot to go. So it's that Memorial Day parade. You can't cover that 3 days later, right? Because the parade only happens for those 2 hours on that one day. So you got to go to that parade, talk to people there, cover what happened at the parade, right? What's going on? What am I seeing? What am I witnessing? You have that one shot to do it. You're going to message me with the event you want to cover. So remember, go to messages. Everybody should be messaging me saying, hey, Professor Chiara, this is what I'm thinking about covering. What do you think? And I'll give you the go-ahead, or I'll give you maybe some advice. Oh, you can cover that, but just make sure you're approaching it in this angle, right? So contact me to let me know what it is that you want to cover so I can give you the approval, and I could also make sure to give you a little advice on maybe how you should cover it, just to make sure that we're clear that it's a hard news story. Or I might say, oh, that's not really a hard news story, you need to find something else. Also, contact me if you have no idea what to do. So I know a lot of you are busy, you're also working, so I can maybe give you some ideas. We can look some things up together. But if you have no idea what to do, contact me. Say, I'm really not sure. Please do this after you've done your own research, though. Make sure that you've looked into it, you've taken a look at town meetings that are going on that week and that you really can't cover them. But if you've really done some research, you really can't figure something out, we could brainstorm some ideas. In any case, you need to be contacting me those just to give the approval or ask me questions. All right, so you're going to be covering your hard news story. Once you've done that, you're going to write your story. Remember, you're writing it in a Word document. Don't write it directly on Blackboard. This needs to be on some kind of document like Word or something else. If you do it in Blackboard, it's not going to be formatted right. Here's what your story must have. You must not use reporting from other stories or direct language from other stories. So let's take my example of a Memorial Day parade. Maybe you cover the Memorial Day parade. Maybe the Hartford Courant covered it too. Well, you cannot copy and paste sections of the Hartford Courant. You can't take quotes that were used in the Hartford Courant and put it in your story. It's all your original reporting. So I don't care that another outlet reported on it, but you can't take any of what they used in your reporting. You have to have at least one human source and 2 direct quotes that you obtain. The quotes must be recorded by you and original to your reporting. So human source, you remember from attribution from your chapters, basically you got to go talk to somebody there. You have to talk to, so if you're doing that Memorial Day parade, maybe you talk to a veteran that was part of the parade. Maybe you talk to somebody who attended the event and interview why they decided to attend the event. This can be nerve-wracking for a lot of you, but you have to actually go up and approach somebody and ask them, if you get some quotes from them. Most people are going to be flattered that you ask them. So you go up to them and say, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm a student at the University of Hartford. I'm taking an online summer class. I'm writing a story about this parade. Would you be willing to talk to me and give me just a few, would you be willing to answer a few questions of why you came to the parade today? Most people would say, sure, we'd love to. You can go on and ask them the questions. You learned we read that chapter about interviewing, so use what you learned in that chapter. How do you interview somebody? How do you ask appropriate questions? Or maybe you talked to a veteran that was marching. Hi, I understand I'm writing so-and-so from the University of Hartford, writing a story for my college class for writing for news stories. Would you be willing to answer a few questions of why you participated in the parade today? And then start asking your questions, if they give you permission, if they say yes. So that's what I mean, though. You need to get at least one. You could get 2 different people, but at least one. And from that person, you have to have at least 2 of their quotes, direct quotes, in the story. If you're not sure about quotes, go back to the chapter. Read our chapter about quotes again. We'll make sure you understand what a quote is. It's word for word. And then what makes a good quote in a story. It has to be between 500 and 650 words. So that's a very strict word count. Cannot be a word less, cannot be a word above. Keep it within the 500 and 650 words. This is traditionally what the Associated Press does for their stories. Have short paragraphs, 1 to 3 sentences, 5 at the most. I am going to be looking for this, right? Go through your paragraphs. Make sure there's 1 to 3 sentences. If there's more than 5 in any of those paragraphs, it's way too long. It needs to be broken up. Go back to the readings that we talked about for story structure on how to construct a good paragraph. But this is your guideline here. 1 to 3 sentences, 5 at the most. Be written in the third person and in the past tense. So there's no I, me in here. It's third person. If you're not sure what third person is again, Google it. Make sure you get a refresher of what writing in the third person means. In past tense. So it's already happened. Everything is in the past because you've already reported on it. So if you're still confused by past tense, Google that too. But third person, past tense. So here's what I'm going to be grading on. If it is informative and well-researched. So did you give me a lot of information or is it just fluff, right? So if you go to that parade, are you just talking about how pretty the flowers were and the floats, or are you telling me, roughly how many people you think attended there? What time was it? Why was it significant? You're giving me real information, not just fluff of it. And again, your book goes over all this, what makes a good story. It's organization. That's what I mean by the story structure. So did you put appropriate information in appropriate spots? Did you, what we call sometimes burying the lead? Did you take the lead, the who, what, when, where, why, and put it in the middle of the story where it shouldn't go? Or is it on the top? Did you have that lead quote after you have the lead and the nut graph? Is your nut graph in the right place? That's what I mean by organization. Is the focus clear? Go back in the chapter if you need to learn what focus is again, but the main point of the story, is it clear? Is the writing clear, concise, and informative? So is it confusing the way that you wrote it? Informative, again, I guess goes back here, but did you not give me the information? Is it concise, or do you kind of just go off on tangents? Do you write it clearly? Can I tell you edited, basically? Basically what this line means is, did you edit? Can I tell that you did take the time and edit the story, or is this like a first draft that you kind of just threw together? Quality of the quotes, the information you got from your interview. Your book goes over what makes a good quote, but here is what does not make a good quote. Let's start with a bad example. This should not be what I see for a quote. Yeah, the event was today on Sunday, said so-and-so, organizer of the event. Well, that doesn't make a good quote. Why? Because you could just say that. The event was Sunday. Quotes you're using sparingly. They're the spices, so you have to find the interesting things. So maybe a better quote that you got from that person is, I was moved to tears when the event actually came today because it looked exactly as we planned. That's an interesting quote. Said so-and-so, the organizer of the event. That's an interesting quote. I know they're not all going to be that dramatic, but I'm giving you an extreme example. You're trying to find things that give spice to the story. If it's something that you could just say in your reporting, don't waste it on a quote, because you only have 2 or 3 to use. So pick the 2 or 3 really good, interesting quotes. Your book goes over that as well, what makes an interesting quote. It's newsworthiness. This is from those first chapters you read. Is it newsworthy? A Memorial Day parade is newsworthy. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's newsworthy. A meeting is, a sports game. Hard news is a little bit, fits this category a little bit better because it's timeliness. Your feature story, you'll really have to think about that. But yes, is it newsworthy? Is it interesting to be reported on? So I'll give you an example of what's not interesting. Your friend's playing Fortnite and you cover that event live. Well, that's not newsworthy. Nobody cares about that. Unless maybe they're in like a championship of something, then maybe I could consider that. But if it's just you playing around on Saturday night in your basement, Fortnite with your friends, that's not newsworthy. Nobody cares about that, except for you. So that's what I'm looking for. AP style. We have not covered AP style. That's next week. You don't have to worry too much about this until next week. You can still go cover the story, start writing it, and then go back and edit it for AP style next week. So don't worry about this yet, but I will be grading on it. We're going to talk about that next week. How well the lessons for the chapters are being applied. So can I see that you've been absorbing that information and processing that information and then using it, applying it in your writing, the chapters that we've been learning, the information we've been learning in the chapters. And of course, the last one, is it free of spelling and grammatical errors? So did you edit for just basic spelling and grammatical errors? All right, so you're going to write this in a Word document and attach it. This is a lot, especially if you've never written a hard news story or any news story before. I know this is a lot. You've got to go to the event. You've got to get details. You've got to interview someone, record that information, and you've got to put it into a story. I know you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I'm going to be honest with you. Most of your stories are not going to be good because it's your first one, so that's okay. But most of these are not going to be good. I'm going to be very lenient on the grading. Really what this first one is for me to give you feedback. I'm going to give you lots of feedback because I'm expecting your next story to be even better and then your final story to be the best, right? So this is your first splash into the pool. I know you're going to make mistakes. That's good. I want you to make mistakes. I'm going to be lenient, but I am going to be looking for, did you try to apply everything that we've been talking about here? Did I see you made a conscious effort to do everything that I've asked and that you're applying the lessons from the chapter? That's the most important part. As far as time management, you've got 2 weeks, but this can sneak up on you. My suggestion, go cover something as soon as possible. So before the end of the week, something should be covered by week 1, right? Get your reporting done this week. Get something, go somewhere, get all that information ready to go. Then next week you can spend on writing it and editing it. Even better if you could get something reported on earlier this week and start this week and then spend next week refining it. But I understand that can be unrealistic for some of you. So week 1, get all your reporting set to go. Everything done. Week 2, write it, and by the end of the week, be editing it. That's really probably the best as far as time management for this. As always though, questions. Something I said here was confusing. Don't sit there and be confused and say, well, I'll just wing it and hopefully it'll be okay. Message me. Message me. In fact, sometimes what happens if you message me and I realize that it's something that needs to be addressed for the class, I'll then put it in announcements too, so everybody, so your classmates get that understanding as well. So you could be helping out the whole class. So if you were confused by something, please contact me. You got to contact me anyways because you got to tell me what you're going to go cover. So you're going to be contacting me anyways. Contact me with questions too. And contact me with questions early. Don't wait until Saturday, June 8th at 8 p.m. to ask me the question. I might not be able to get back to you. You get to me early and get to me often, and we can work through all of this. All right, contact me with questions. Have some fun with this. I know it's challenging. I know that it's new for you. Experiment. I'm going to give you lots of feedback. I'm expecting you're going to make mistakes. It's okay. That's how you're going to learn. So make the mistakes, but make the mistakes. I expect that you're making these mistakes still trying to apply everything. This, by just missing things here, not doing things, is not making a mistake. That's you being lazy. You trying this and making a mistake and failing with the experimenting and failing and not I don't want to say failing. You're not going to fail this if you do this, but you doing something and hey, it didn't work out. That's fine. I'm going to say, oh, this is how you could be improved, and you're still going to be fine with the grade as long as I tell that you're applying the lessons that we learned. Okay? All right. Contact me though if you have questions, and have fun with this. And good luck.